Before the attack, Taeyoon came to see Dongju's condition. He really afraid that Dongju would die. There was something that made him curious. Why did his father make Dongju critical like this? Taeyoon didn't understand. Why didn't he call the emergency services at that time? If the ambulance had arrived sooner, Dongju definitely wouldn't have become like this. It turned out that when Taeyoon called the emergency services, it was the first report, and his father, who he thought had called the emergency services, did not call the emergency services. And now Ildo heard his son, who felt regretful. Ildo ran and went into the toilet. He thought he was ready to die right now, but he would not leave his life to fate. Ildo would be responsible for everything, but now is not the time. He will wait until the time when Daesan Group becomes the property of Chairman Ha Ildo and Ha Taeyoon. Then Ildo returned to Dongju's room. He saw Dongju fighting with the gangster boss. At that time Ildo stabbed the gangster boss and saved Dongju. Meanwhile, Chairman Cha called Dr. Kong and asked about Dongju's progress. But according to Dr. Kong, there is no good enough progress, and Chairman Cha suggests seeking treatment abroad. But Dr. Kong feels that there is no place other than Korea that is more effective in treating him. That's because there is something that Dongju must complete while Chairman Cha's mind is still normal. And at that time, Chairman Cha didn't realize he had walked too far and his cell phone ran out of battery, and he also wasn't wearing sandals. The gangster boss was tied up in the bathroom by Dongju, and because it was too much, he would be injected by Dongju. Then the gangster boss said that Unnam was in danger because the hitman would kill her if Unnam tried to escape. Then Dongju called her, and when Unnam wanted to leave, she was followed by a man. Then Unnam gave her cell phone so that the man would stop, and the gangster boss told him to let Unnam go. Dongju asked for Ildo's cell phone and he gave it to her. Dongju knew that Ildo and Mr. Yeom were playing the same game. When he fainted after eating cinnamon, Ildo pretended to have called an ambulance while hoping he would die. But Dongju was curious why Ildo saved him today, even though he also saved Ildo twice, when Ildo drowned in the sea and also now. Dongju let him live instead of killing him. Ji Seoneo saw Chairman Cha sitting alone, and Seoneo approached him. Seoneo was going to take Chairman Cha home. Seeing that Chairman Cha was not wearing shoes, he lent Chairman Cha his shoes, and Chairman Cha rode on his motorbike, and Chairman Cha showed him the way to his house. Chairman Cha's family was confused because he disappeared barefoot. They didn't know where to look for him, and they also couldn't report him to the police. Because if Chairman Cha was reported missing and it became news, then Daesan's stock would drop drastically. Dukwi was very angry because she just found out that her father had dementia, and she blamed her sister for not telling her. Dukwi felt that her sister was planning something with her sick father. But Kukui also just found out today because her husband didn't tell her. Her husband didn't tell anyone on Chairman Cha's orders. In the past, Guho investigated Dongju when he was a new employee at Daesan. He had a hard life before college, and Guho showed him a photo that Mr. Yeom see. These children are Seo Dong Ju and Seo Dong Ju. The woman holding the child is Ko Eugene, who died when Dongju was in first grade, while the man beside him is Seo Byung-duk. He gave his surname to the two siblings, and now he lives in America. They say Mrs. Pai asked for them, and when Dongju was little, Mrs. Pai sold their surname for money. So Dongju's birth may not have been registered until then. Then Mr. Yeon's wife felt that the child with tight hair was Seongyun, Chu Seongyun. His wife thought he was the same child. he always asked for his badge to be worn, and it turned out to be the old Daesan Group badge. So, Dongju, the new employee, liked Daesan Group since childhood. His wife also wanted to meet Dongju, who she called Seongyun. Then Mr. Yeom told her that they were two different children. Seeing Mr. Yeom, who was angry, she just agreed that they only looked alike and were not the same child. Dongju picked up Unnam and asked her to go, but when she wanted to get in the car, Dongju told Unnam to get in first. It turned out that in Unnam's car, there was a man waiting for her and Dongju beat him until he was unconscious. Dongju then opened his cell phone and also Ildo's cell phone that he had brought earlier. Then he called Mr. Yeom using Ildo's cell phone and called Guho using the man's cell phone. At first, Mr. Yeom didn't realize it and thought it was Ildo who called him, until Dongju said that he was Dongju. Mr. Yeom and Guho were shocked because Ildo failed to kill Dongju and also the man failed to kill Unnam. Dongju will remember when Mr. Yeom tried to stab, shoot, drown, and kill him with cinnamon and lethal injection, and also killed his sister. Dongju told him to just wait because he would return everything, and Dongju hung up the phone. Mr. Yeom called the gangster boss and told him to postpone about Unnam and find Dongju immediately, but the one who answered the phone was Dongju, because Dongju also took his cell phone. Mr. Yeom was very upset because all his men failed in carrying out their duties. Mr. Yeom also realized that Dongju had been pretending to have amnesia all this time. He ate cinnamon, even though he knew it was dangerous. He still ate it to trick them. He risked his life to act. Mr. Yeom felt that Dongju must have killed Ildo, the gangster boss, and next was him. Chairman Cho took Seonil for a ride and didn't make it. Seonil was confused because he had passed the same alley several times. It turned out that Chairman Cho deliberately took a long time to get on his motorbike and he remembered the times when he played with his son. Then Seonil dropped him off at the police station, because if he went in here, the police would help him find his house. They kept turning right and going around to the same place and had already passed the Han River twice. Then Chairman Cho said that he would not ask to turn right again and invited Seonil to ride his motorbike again. Finally, Chairman Cho was near his house and Seonil was amazed because their grandfather had a large house and he knew that the place was where Dongju lived. Chairman Cho's family was relieved because Chairman Cho had returned and Seonil introduced himself that he was Dongju's friend who accidentally met Chairman Cho. Dukui was very worried about her father, but Chairman Cho didn't recognize her and told her not to worry because his son brought him home safely. Then Dukui told Taeyoon to take his grandfather into the house. They blamed Do-so for not telling them until his condition was this bad. He didn't recognize them, and even asked who Dukui was. Because he kept saying that Seonil was his son, Dukui told Taeyoon invites her grandfather in. Then Seonil gives cookies that he made himself to give to Dongju. And he will also come again to get the shoes that Chairman Cho is wearing. Then Dukui says that she will send him to his bakery. Of course Seonil is surprised how she knows the address of the shop. Unnam goes to Hee Cheol's office and invites him to go home with her. That way she will feel safe because she is with Mr. Yeom's nephew. Hee Cheol thinks if they go home together, it means Unnam will cancel their divorce. Then Unnam gives the excuse that his uncle is looking for him. When he gets home, he immediately meets his uncle and asks why he is looking for him. Mr. Yeom explained that he was not looking for his nephew. Then Hee Cheol said that his wife told him and Unnam came home with him. Mr. Yeom was a bit surprised that Unom could still come home, and he told Hee-cheol to just sleep. Dongju came to Mr. Yeom's house and Guho immediately pointed his gun at Dongju. Mr. Yeom shouted and told Guho to shoot him, but Guho kept quiet because he saw who Dongju was calling. Then Mr. Yeom took and pointed his gun at Dongju, but then the elder or President Lee Kyo-leung told Mr. Yeom to stop. If gunshots were heard, he would send special forces to destroy his house. Mr. Yeom was still angry and not afraid of the elder's threats. Then Dongju quickly took his gun and pointed it at Mr. Yeom's head. He told the elder to calm down, because everything was under control. The elder told Mr. Yeom that from now on, let Dongju manage the money, because Dongju has brought all the money back and asked for his help to reconcile with Mr. Yeom. Dongju survived all the life-threatening situations and went through hell just to meet him, so that's amazing. But if Mr. Yeom makes Dongju have trouble again, then the elder will think Mr. Yeom is declaring war on him. Nam Sang-kyul thinks that if he pushes Mr. Yeom too far, it could backfire. But the elder has no choice, because the Swiss account is with Dongju and he also doesn't trust Dongju, because he is a dangerous man. Dongju tells him that this is not reconciliation, but a truce. Reconciliation means ending the war, but Dongju doesn't want to end it, because he wants revenge. Then Mr. Yeom tells him to shoot him, but Dongju thinks there is no need to rush, because he will kill Mr. Yeom when Mr. Yeom's life is worth satisfying his revenge. Dongju returns to Chairman Cho's house and Secretary Gong is happy to see him back. Chairman Cho is also relieved because he always worries about Dongju every day. He told Secretary Gong to bring something nutritious for Dongju and they went into the office. Dongju said that he would bring Ji Seonul to this family sooner and Chairman Cho was very happy to hear that. He thought Dongju really came back. Dongju waited for Il-do in his room and he told him that he would be back to work tomorrow. Il-do thought Dongju didn't need to come to his room just to tell him that. But actually, there was something Dongju wanted to say personally. That Il-do had tried to kill him and that was an attempted murder. So from now on, Dongju will take advantage of that weakness well.